Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Cyber Thursday. Today we have something special. We have a few things that we're going to go ahead and knock out, and I have some guests with me today, right? Some pretty seasoned guests who had been doing some things in the information security world for some time now, right? One of them joined us last week, another one of them is joining us today, right? They're going to help me go over the Splunk challenge that we talked about last week. And the, actually, let's just go ahead and knock out some introductions real quick. That'll be easier. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. Most of you probably know me by now. My name is Toby Owalabi. I am a cybersecurity subject matter expert. I specialize in Splunk and automation and managing data. All right, but we can save the rest of the skills and certifications for later. I'm also one of the instructors at O-Line Security, where we're helping people who have no experience in IT or cybersecurity break into the field. We also have Zoe with us. Zoe, you can go ahead and steal the show, make yourself known to the world.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, my name
Hey,
is
Zoe.
Alonzo. My name is Alonzo. I've been doing SOC work for about going on close to 5 years now. I actually started off in O-Line Security and as one of the instructors with O-Line Security as well. And now I'm a
Right.
SOC analyst for one of the big four firms. And yes, that's just a quick introduction about myself.
Hey,
Keep it
thanks for
short.
that,
Keep it
Zoe.
short.
Short and sweet, man. There's nothing wrong with short and sweet. And then we got Cedric over here. What's going on, Cedric?
Hello, how y'all doing? Hello, world. What's going on? I have been also a cybersecurity professional. I've done engineering work. I've now transitioned back into a SOC environment where I'll be utilizing tools such as Splunk. So here I'm definitely observing, quick observation just to see exactly how things are going to go down. I'm gonna take some notes and hopefully I'm gonna apply these what I learned today to my new environment.
Thank you, Cedric. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll try to keep this short and sweet so that everybody can get to bed on time if you have a bedtime. I know some of us do. Zoe doesn't have a bedtime. He's a cool kid. I got a bedtime though. So first things first, y'all. Last week, if you were here with us, we talked about the second Splunk challenge. The first Splunk challenge, here, let's go ahead and throw it back on the screen. So the first Splunk challenge, right? This one was about taking some logs and extracting certain fields out of those logs. Okay, we mentioned the type of fields we wanted to see. You have it right here, and there were some cool points that you could get. Right. The second part of the challenge, which was the what we talked about last week, was implementing some type of access control on those logs. Right. We want to make sure that Cedric is the only one that can see his logs. Right. Let's say Cedric works for O-Line Security. Create some type of ACL, some type of access control that will only allow Cedric to view O-Line Security's logs and then Alonzo to view New World Records logs. Right. And we're going to glance over that today. There's a new Splunk challenge that we'll talk about. Right. This one is going to be completely different logs and it's going to be uh, pertaining to Syslog. But let's go ahead and talk about this Splunk challenge that we went over yesterday or last week, yesterday. So with this Splunk challenge, y'all, this one, there were a few different ways we could have implemented this access control. Right. One of those ways I think Zoe was going to show you, right? Because I think he did his different from me, which is not wrong, right? There's multiple ways to get this answer. The other way would have taken a little bit more skill. So let's go ahead and show you. So I'm going to log in over here. We got Splunk running. And just to catch everybody up, we have this index, right? If you don't know what an index is, think of it as a container or a bucket or a repository that's holding data, right? And this index is called main. And we have a bunch of different logs in here. Remember, these are access logs for a web server. All right. Now we have access logs coming from two different companies. We have access logs coming from O-Line Security, and we have access logs coming from New World Records. The goal last week was to make sure that only people from O-Line Security could see their logs coming from their host, and then allowing only people or individuals from New World Records to see logs coming from their host. Okay. Now there are a few different ways to do that. One way I think would have been the most challenging way, but it would have worked, is adding a host field into the logs themselves, right? I can't remember where I put my logs. Actually, Splunk told me right here, var log access. Adding a host field to the logs themselves could have done it. So here are the logs right here. Okay, you can see if I just take this guy, the one I have highlighted, if we added a host field to these logs, you do have the ability to modify your own logs, right? If you have a customer sending you logs and you would like them to add a host field to the logs so it can make it easier for you to implement access control, you can ask them that, right? And you could have added that in here, a host field right here at the end, wherever you wanted to, and then use props and transform configuration files on the back end to look for that host name and do some type of tag to the data. Say, hey, if you see this host name in this log, it belongs to O-Line Security. That would have been a little bit more challenging, but I think you would have got a lot more code points with that, because you would probably do something of that nature with a lot of other logs that do contain host names in the events. Now, the way that I did it, which is another way, right, is I just set the host name inside of the inputs.conf file, right? I don't want to show it right now because if Zoe did it the same way, I would rather him show his method. If he didn't do it the same way that I did it, then I will show my method. But the goal here, if I log out, hopefully I remember, let's go to these users. The goal that Zoe has to show us, and if he doesn't show us, then he doesn't pass this Splunk challenge, all right? So remember that. All right, so we have two users, Alonzo and Toby. So the goal is for Zoe to log in. Forgot my username already. Okay, that was good. The goal is for Zoe to log in and search for his logs in that index of equals main. We've got to do an all-time search, and only seeing logs from a particular host, not from both of them. So Zoe is going to steal the show. He's going to log into some type. Well, he's just going to show us what he did. Let's see the reason behind his madness. But here you can see I logged into a user and they can only see events coming from one host, and that is their host, right, of O-Line Security. All right, Zoe, you ready?
All right. So, as you were saying, that was the challenge. We had to ingest the logs, create two hosts and two users, and the users can only see the data for their host. So, what I did, just like he did the same way, actually, in my inputs.conf file, as you see right here, in my inputs.conf file, I created the hosts under each log source. So for access one, it just says access. So as you see, I had Splunk monitor those var logs access for access 01, and I put the host under it, and I just did a simple name. I did SOC 1, and I did the same thing for the access logs 02, and I did the same thing there, and SOC 02. This is under my inputs.conf. And then this is just my regex extracting the fields. So it's all under one file. But
So
this is
real quick.
Yeah.
Can I point something out real quick? So he has two inputs in here, right? Two access logs coming from two different files, right? Access.log, that's one input. Then you have the second input for access -o2.log, right? So those are two different stanzas, monitor stanzas that are ingesting two different files from two different locations. If that makes sense, Cedric. That's how you would. It's just one way to ingest data, right? This is one way to do it on the back end. And for each stanza, right, you have two. For each stanza, he's telling you where to send the data, index equals main. He's telling you what source site to set the data, source type equals access, and he's telling you what the host is for that stanza, SOC 1 and SOC 2. Sweet. Good job, Zoe. You got it.
And so this the extraction fields for the data right here. So it's all, and this is from the props though. This is the props.conf. So that's just telling Splunk, hey, this is the data you're going to extract, and it's using regex. This is a regex. This is called a regex. All right. So now, and here I'm already logged into Splunk, but I'm just showing you as quick to like a quick show. So this is under my admin. Now,
okay.
My admin, the admin is going to be able to see both. So that's how I set up. The admin should be able to see all the logs. And you see, boom, all the logs from both hosts and both source.
SOC 1, right. SOC 2. Okay.
Right. Now the challenge was to separate them. So SOC 1 should only see. So I created two users, SOC Analyst 1 and SOC Analyst 2, just to keep it simple. So SOC Analyst 1 should see data from only SOC 1 host, and SOC Analyst 2 should see it from SOC 2 host. So this is SOC Analyst 1 that I'm logging into. So the challenge is to separate the access for each user. So SOC Analyst 1 should only see data from host 1 and access logs, 01, or just access logs. That's the first one. Now, all I'm going to do is the same way I did with the admin. You notice the admin was able to see both, all the data from both hosts. Now, this is SOC 1. They should only see data from SOC 01. And as you see here, boom, SOC 1.
That's the SOC 1 and SOC 2.
Oh, you made me have to take a double. Like, hold up.
You what? Hold up there.
And here's the source. Access log. All right. And here it's same in the data. It'll be right here as well. And remember, the source type is access. It's still access because it's access logs. Now, if I log in for SOC Analyst 2, they should only see data from SOC 01.
All right, don't let me see that. Whoa. They're going to see data from what?
SOC Analyst 2 they should only see from SOC 02.
All right now. All right now.
That's my mistake. All right. This thing's loading slow. Come on.
Oh, Will, it's not on Zoom. Here, I'm going to give you a link to join us. We're using StreamYards tonight. If you use that link, if you click on that link, you'll be able to join us, and we can hear you. You can talk to us.
So now I'm under SOC Analyst 2. So SOC Analyst 2 shall only see data from host SOC 02 and source access logs 02. So once I run a search, there it is. So the host should be what? SOC 02. The source should be raw logs access 02. And the source type is still going to be the same access, but it's from different hosts and the data is from a different source, from the different source logs. So how did I do it? So I did it from the front end, the way I did access, and I did it through a search filter. So I'm gonna log into the admin real quick.
That's interesting.
I did mine through a search filter. That's the way I did the access for each user. So now I'm gonna go into the admin and show how I gave the access for each analyst. So under your settings, I just went to the roles.
Okay. Okay.
Oh gosh, this thing moving slow.
Because you got so much data in Splunk now. I wipe
Yeah,
my data out.
It was moving faster.
Yeah. I'm gonna flush out my index tonight for the new challenge. That way mine will move a little bit faster. Because you know, when we do it on the VMs, they only have so much resources to let us do our thing. Hey, what's up, Will? Sorry about the mix up.
What's going on?
Okay, those are the roles.
So here's the roles. So the SOC Analyst 1 and the SOC Analyst 2. So when I created the roles, like I said, I did it from the filter. So from right here, where it say restrictions, I did a search filter on it. So host equals SOC 1. It's saying that this restriction is saying that it can only, this analyst can only see data through a search filter through host SOC 1. So if it try to do host equals SOC 02, nothing will come up. So I did it restricted through the search filter. And it also showed up on the back end as well. See right here, this is my authorized.com file.
I love it.
So the authorized.com file is telling, like, you know, it's just basically the authorizations that each role have. And as you can see, here's my SOC Analyst 1 and the SOC Analyst 2. Now you see right here where it says search filter, is the host equals SOC 1. So like I said, is the access is restricted through the search filter. Now I can even change this host to the source for, let's say, the access logs. I could put source var log access log, and I could filter it that way, and it will they will only be able to see the data from that log source. So that's how I did the challenge.
Yo,
questions?
Yeah, I got questions. What you talking about? Now, so I mean, one question was that I did have. What was the most challenging part for you about this this exercise?
Challenging part,
yeah,
was it took me a long time to actually figure this part out on setting the host on, you know, creating two different hosts. It took me a while.
The hardest part was what again?
Yeah, for the first part, creating two hosts, and also the second part. It took a lot of research to figure out how to do it my way on this way and doing a search filter. I had to do some like document reading from Splunk docs and all that. Like, yeah, and it's just a lot of research. Honestly, it took me a while, but I figured it out for this way. I figured it out doing it this way.
Right. I'm pretty sure you figured out a few ways to do it, and you probably learned so much from going back and doing the research and then going up through the docs. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And y'all, what was that?
I had a quick question, if it's okay.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah, for the regular expression, Alonzo. So when you extracted the fields, did you do that from the front end as well, or did you do this from the back end?
Oh, this part right here. This part.
Yes.
Yeah, I did this from the back end. I did it from the back end. So after I created the app, so it's under the Splunk Etsy, as you see here, apps. So this is the app right here, access.
Gotcha.
So all my access logs is going under this app. And then I created like a local folder, and under the local folder is all the configuration files. So it's under the props. I created that one under the props.com file. and the one with the stanzas, this was created under inputs. So this is telling Splunk to, hey, this is how you're going to input the data as, okay, the source type is going to be the access, the index is going to be the main, and the host is SOC 1. So that's how it's inputting the data. And then the props is just telling like, hey, this is how you're going to extract the fields from the data. And all the inside here, inside the regex, like the IP, it's extracting the IP, the user, the date, and so forth. Like inside, like these, inside the arrows, right here, these arrows, all the ones inside here is the fields that's being extracted, and you can see those. Let's go real quick. And when you run a search, that's the data you're going to see in the interesting fields.
I gotta say, Zoe, this I'm impressed, man. Like you definitely come a long way when it comes to Splunk, bro. Like I'm really, really impressed the way that you can move and articulate what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's impressive, man. So if you haven't given yourself kudos or pat yourself on the back, man, please do, because this is good work, bro. This is really good work. It's challenging. What you say?
If it wasn't for these classes, for the classes, I honestly, I wouldn't be able to.
Alonzo, which class would you say helped you the most? Because this is looking like more of the engineering course. But I'm gonna let you tell it. What class you think helped you the most to prepare you for this test?
So all of them really, but the Splunk fundamentals, it just, it gives you the basics of Splunk and like the commands and
foundation.
The foundation, exactly. And then the rest of them just build off, like the Splunk incident response is all building off of that one class. And then so forth. And then, you got the engineer. It's just the engineer class just digs a little deeper into being an engineer.
I got you. Yeah, for
but
sure.
They all teach you about, the Splunk fundamentals. Everything builds off from it.
I got you. Okay.
And let me, well, I'm gonna let Zoe do his thing. Go ahead, Zoe.
Oh yeah, no. So as I was saying, so remember that I was saying about the extracted fields. So it's extracting the fields that it's going to be pulling from the data from our logs. And once we run the search, those are the fields that were extracted, the bytes and everything that it asks for. So that's what the regex was for when I was extracting those fields. But there's other ways to do field extractions. But for this exercise, I use the props.conf and I use regex.
I'm impressed with that. That's pretty good.
that boy Zoe is mean with it, man. I'm telling you, that boy is mean.
Hold up, Toby. Was that a teacher, man, or was that a student? Huh?
I was a student with O-line.
he said, is that a teacher or a student? What does he sound like right now? What you tell me?
He sound like a teacher, like he really know what he's doing, even though he used the method. He understood it. I like that.
And let me can I toot Zoe's horn real quick? Like Zoe he's a seasoned SOC analyst. He has some Splunk skills that he was talking about the courses that he just took. He took the Splunk fundamentals class. He took the Splunk engineer class. I don't know if he did the incident response one, but he did. Yeah, I think so. He pretty much did all the Splunk courses, right? And I mean, he didn't just do them. Like he didn't just go through the class and put it away. He went through the class over and over and over and over and over with this. All the time that he was allotted in the class, he exhausted it, right? And he broke things on purpose, because you build out your own resources in these classes. Everything that Zoe's showing you right now, it was in the classes, right? But with obviously not the same stuff that we're using here for the challenges, right? We go into a lot more details in the classes. But here, let me show you. And Cedric, you had asked me that question earlier. That's why it was hard for me to answer. That's why I answered it the way I did. As you know, if you're confident with your Splunk skills from a
Right.
fundamentals perspective, then just jump into the engineer course. So I always recommend starting with the Splunk fundamentals first. Yeah, you already know when we say fundamentals, we're not just talking about the basics. We start with the basics and then we build up all the way to a level of 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 comfortability where you're confident in order to solve real world problems, right? So it's not just the basics. It's not just, oh, how do you run a search in Splunk? No, everything, the Splunk engineers course, we're just taking what's you learn in here, we're taking it to another level from an engineering perspective. There's the fundamental stuff here. We're from a SOC perspective, we're just tunneling it inside of the lens of a SOC analyst, right? But the Splunk engineer one, this is what the skill that you see Zoe using, but he's leveraging the skills from here. He's leveraging the skills from here to 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 really utilize his Splunk engineer skills from here as well. All right. So if you're comfortable with your Splunk fundamental skills, then just jump into the Splunk engineer stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Any other questions for Zoe?
Wait a minute, you say he's a former student, he's not a student no more? Or are you going through the class right now?
I was one of the first in the first class ever for O-line.
That's an OP.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought you were just finished a course. Like I just finished one, but I thought you had just finished it.
Zoe had took the class. He took the first. I mean, first.
What, about over 5 years ago?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And then, I mean, 5 years ago he was an instructor, but before that he had took the first course, and then, I mean, he was really good. He fell in love with it. So then we brought him on as an instructor, and he said, forget O-line, he want to go and be security analyst. Like, I'm playing, y'all. He took his skills. He needed to, you know, to spread his wing and elevate his skills to another level to where they are today. And he's been doing a pretty good job, bro. Like, really. All right, so let me introduce this second challenge, then we're gonna jump into something else. I'm really giving y'all a lot of time tonight. I know I haven't been really active on the Cyber Thursdays lately. That's because, you know, a lot of us, just like Zoe and Cedric, we have real lives that we have to attend to on a daily basis. You know, like make dinner and breakfast and all that good stuff. It's like, no, hold on, let me pull this thing up now. So and I'm gonna post the link to this in the description. All right, so the next Splunk challenge. It's gonna be a combination of the other challenges, but we're gonna add something to it that will really be the wrench that we're throwing in there. So with this Splunk challenge, pretty simple. You're getting some new logs, right? They're gonna be Syslog events. You're gonna take those Syslog events. You're gonna onboard it into Splunk. You choose how you want to onboard it. It doesn't matter, right? If you want to do it on the back end, go ahead. If you don't know how to do it on the back end, you want to learn how to do it on the back end, then I advise you to enroll in the Splunk Engineers course. All right, so you can learn how to do it the right way. All right, ingest the syslog data. Set the index to syslog this time. We're not going to store it in the main index. We're going to set it in a new index called syslog. We're going to give this syslog : system the source type. Okay, here's the index, syslog, here's the source type, syslog system. You're going to extract the syslog fields and do some research on what syslog is. Right? When you get new data sources that you got to onboard as an engineer, do some research on the data source. Just basic research, right? Just ask Google, hey, what is this? What is syslog? What did the syslog data show me? What type of events are in syslog logs? Right? Syslog logs. That's fine. Just do some basic research on it before you extract your fields, because it'll give you a better sense on what to extract. Now, this part, we got to ensure SIM compliance. ensure that the fields are SIM compliant. SIM compliance is just a normalization thing that Splunk uses to enhance your data, right? So you're normalizing it to a data model. On the left-hand side, and I'll post this on the description of the video. On the left-hand side, we have all these different data models that Splunk uses. They have certain fields that the data models use to help accelerate your data or help correlate your data with everything that the data model sees. So we want to make sure our fields that we're extracting are SIM compliant. These are SIM compliant fields. So if there are action related events in your data, they need to be under an action field, right? If here, I'll show you something. So, because I feel bad for just leaving you all hanging with SIM compliance and y'all might not know it. So this is the Syslog events right here. I'm gonna give you one field. This field is the app field. All right, after you do some research on Syslog, you'll see why this is the app field, SSHD. If I come back to this SIM model, look, this is the field name, app. I'm not gonna name it. I'm not gonna call this program or whatever. I'm gonna call it the field that's in this SIM model or data model. Why am I using this data model authentication and not the other ones? I'm not going to tell you that right now. I want you to do some research, right? Do some research on the type of events that are in here, and you'll understand why I'm using the authentication data model. All right, so, but that's the goal for this part, making sure that your fields are SIM compliant. You also want to implement access controls like we just did, how you saw Zoe do it. You don't have to do it the same way Zoe did it. If you find another way, please do it. Let us know, and we'll knock it out, and we can get you on the screen so you can show us how you did it. But we're gonna have some type of security team. I don't want to limit you to what you want to name your security team, your role, your user, but only the security team should see this data. And another wrench is to organize your data, all of your ingestion up here, all of the indexes that you're creating, the source types that you're creating, everything that you're using to onboard this data. I want you to organize it in an app called O-line security _ Syslog. All right. And then finally, we're going to get some dashboards for visualization. So this is going to be a real challenge here, right? It's going to be a combination of things and then some new things, new tasks that we haven't talked about yet. Online, Splunk engineer students, a lot of this is familiar to you. We can talk offline about it. We can hop on Discord or this Saturday, whenever you want to this week, and we can knock this out together. If you all want to know how to do these things, right? These are things that Splunk engineers are doing in the real world, by the way. All these challenges that we've gone over are challenges that Splunk engineers, Splunk admins are doing in the real world. What Zoe just showed you, the way he articulated it, is what Splunk engineers and Splunk admins are doing in the real world. If you do want to learn these skills, just go over here. I'll post the link on Discord. You go to olinesecurity.podia.com and you just register for the Splunk engineer class. I highly recommend that you start with the fundamentals, but you know, it's your choice. Here's the Splunk engineers class. This is what's going to help you do these things on your own, right? Confidently. All right, Cedric, you are up, my guy.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, Will, do you have the 701 labs?
Not yet.
All right, so you might like this lab that Cedric's about to do. So we're about to switch over to a investigation lab, right? Cedric is going to lead an investigation and remediation lab.
Yeah.
Cedric, I have you on the screen right now.
Okay.
Let's let me see. How do I move this over? All right, you got the show, man.
All right, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now, like Toby just articulated, we have an investigation taking place. I want to walk you guys through it and just kind of teach you the steps of how this will happen. Simulate I'm gonna simulate the real world events by using this lab. So first things first. This is one of those. Okay, so now we begin. So we have our security iron platform here. And here I'm just going to
And everybody that's watching, if you do have the security cert master, security plus cert master labs for the 701, this is the network incident investigation and remediation lab. Feel free to join us and do it while we're doing it. This is a really, really good lab because it's really a use case scenario or use case activity that's being done in the real world.
All right, guys. So now here we're looking inside of a tool called Wireshark, which is a packet analyzer. Here we're gonna have an up close and personal look at our actual data in our network using a PCAC analysis platform here. So if you can look closely, what you'll see is different IP addresses within inside of our subnet. Nothing unusual at the moment. Everything looks pretty good. But as I continue parsing through each packet, so okay, boom, here, right? So here it appears that it was some type of data that was exfiltrated from this host, which is 10.10.1.5, to an external IP address that's not inside of our environment. This is a dead giveaway because if it's an external IP address, that means it is a system or host that is external away from our network. So here inside of question 3 is asking to list any external IP address that I found. So I just identified this by parsing through the Wireshark platform, which is a GUI. There are other packet or protocol analyzers such as TCP dump, but that's one that was most on the back end from the terminal. It's not as pleasurable to look at, so that's why we're using Wireshark. So here, IP address 75.30.5.55 is the external IP address. I'm going to check my work here. And then what? So now that's correct. So we're going to navigate to the next step. So now they want us to actually switch to the Windows Server host. I'm going to do that. So now they want us to display the IP address on this particular server. So a good way to do this is by going through the command prompt. You can type in CMD at the bottom screen. So now I'm going to type in what is called I as in Indigo, P as in Patrick config, because this is a Windows operating system. Boom. So here you can see all the local configurations within this host. There you can see that the IP version 4 address is 10.10.1.5. And I will then answer the question by typing exactly that, 10.10.1.5. And I'm going to check my work.
And if y'all remember, this was the source IP in that PCAP that we were just looking at. This was the source IP was communicating with the external IP. So he looked at the PCAP first, right? As a SOC analyst, what you're gonna probably get a ticket in your queue, some type of email. What is this though? Like what are SOC analysts getting now? Tickets or emails? It should be tickets.
Yeah,
or maybe
it's tickets.
Tickets.
Yeah,
so you'll get a ticket with hey, something bad happened, and hopefully they have this data in there. Cedric just pulled the data. He's analyzing the PCAP. He's saying, okay, look, I did see something malicious, right? This external IP popped out like a sore thumb. So let me pivot over to the infected host. Cedric is now logged into the infected host and doing more investigation, right? The first part was probably a tier one thing, right? He's identifying the ticket or going through the ticket. What he's doing now is more of a tier 2, tier 3 maybe thing where he's doing further investigation to figure out what the heck is going on. So he's on the victim host. Go ahead, do your thing, Cedric.
All right, no problem. All right, so now we have a question here. So it's asking me to display the active connection and ports on which the computer is listening, then document any anomalous results. List the port on which the attack is occurring. All right, so the command that you want to use, if you want to see any internal and external connections for a host, you're going to use the netstat command. So that's going to be the N as in Nancy, ET, STAT command. This command is going to show me the port that this host is actually listening to. So it shows that the local host is listening to 49.67.4, but also more importantly, it's showing me that the foreign device is listening to 1337. So in this situation, it's important that we understand the port of the foreign IP address. So I'm going to answer this question here, and I'm going to get credit. Yep, so then that's correct. So then now it's asking, will check for all unauthorized accounts, then document any anomalous results. Then list the anomalous user account below. So no problem. So this is a command net space user that I'm going to use. This is going to show me every single account that's on this host. So if somebody was to make an account, I will be able to use that command to see what that account is. So now looking further as an investigation, we can see here that this is an abnormality, and you're looking at the administrator account that's spelled with a number, which nobody in the English language talks like that or spells like that, I should say. So you have ADM, which supposed to be I, in this case is a 1. That is an observable abnormality. So there, I would identify this as the anomalous user account. So I'm going to type that in here and get credit for that.
Gotta get your credit, man.
Okay, I misspelled it. Yeah, I misspelled L, man. I misspelled the misspelled one.
That looks right to me. It's probably because you got it wrong the first time. Administrator. Yeah, it's probably because you got it wrong already, but that looks right to me unless I'm missing something. But it's all good. We can keep going.
Okay, all right. So review the run the applications processes. Okay,
Well,
cool. So with this,
select hint to make sure we got it. Make sure we're not tripping. It should say administrator, right?
right.
Well, I don't know what it's gonna. Oh, I thought it was gonna show like the answer. Oh, you can close it.
Cool.
It's an actual hint to show you how to get it. Okay. It's all good. It is administrator though, as you stated.
Got you. So now for this command here, right? Let me go down. So here it's saying to review the running applications, processes, and services, then document any anomalous results. So now they want to know what's the active processes that's running on this host. So command for that would be the task list space /S as in Sam, V as in Victor, C as in Charlie. Enter that. So as I do my analysis, I'm parsing, trying to figure out all of these processes to see what doesn't look right to me. So I will look. And let me go back here. A little stuff. All right, cool. All right, y'all. So far everything looks pretty good. Google update.executable, services host, service host. Keep going down. All right. So again, it's the same thing. Here underneath the con host.executable, we have a process named win tools. However, tools is spelled with a number value, which again, that's abnormal because we don't spell like that in the English language. So it's the WIN, the capital T, but then there's a 0, but this 0 is replacing O. So this is another giveaway that this could be a malicious process. One tools.
That looks spelled right. Maybe .exe.
Hold on.
Yeah, they not giving you any more points today, man.
No, right?
That's right though. It's win
Yeah,
tools. It's probably
that's
because it's incorrect the first time. It's all right. We're gonna get our points on the next one. Come on.
all right. So then we're gonna go here, boom, go back to security iron. Then I'm going to click here, password. Now I'm back inside of my security iron.
And while he's doing that, y'all just remember when we were on that Windows box that we just left, that was the victim, right? That was the victim that was affected where the data was exfiltrated, right? This whole investigation right now, there was data exfiltration. And you're trying to figure out what happened, how it happened, and that's what we're doing, right? He looked at these PCAP logs first. He went over to the victim box, the 10.1.1.5 box. He ran netstat. He saw that 75.30.5.55 on that box as well. He ran the task list command. He saw the malicious process. He saw the malicious account. So he's continuing throughout this investigation and just finding more information on how and why this could have happened. Do you think, Sid?
All right, so now we're looking here. It's saying, okay, on which packet number does the attack start? So as we remember before, we seen where the source from which was our host here, and then we seen where the data was exfiltrated from our source to the external device, which was here. But the packet number that this exfiltration took place on packet 28. So the protocol that was used during this exfiltration process was TCP. As you can look at the protocol column, look at 28, and you'll see under there is the TCP protocol. So then it wants to make, and we're going to navigate back to our actual infected host. So I'm going to minimize that. So now it's asking me, okay, we want to look inside of the events log. So we're going to type in the event number 4720. This number is indicative of a user account that was created. So if I just go inside of the bottom window, tap in this magnifying glass here, and I type in event, there I would have the event viewer application. Now, typically I would start with the Windows logs, in particular the security logs. And if I want to filter out any type of the process for an account creation, I would type in 4720. Nothing happened, right? But an experienced SOC analyst would know you would navigate to what's called the save logs, because somebody could actually have saved their logs after they performed an action. So here, I'm going to go to the save logs, drop down, and then I'm going to open this up, go inside of find, and I'm going to search for the same event ID number.
It came up.
So then now I actually found it, and I actually located the event ID number 4720 underneath for the saved logs. So now I can see that a user account was created. Now, this is important here. It says that the account name or the subject, under subject, you have security ID, which shows what that is. The when Microsoft ITE admin, under that it's the account name. So this is saying that the admin account on this host was used to create another account. And as I navigate below, you will see that this new account here with the misspelled administrator name, account name, was created by the admin account. So now they enter inside of account with escalated privileges, which is how they were able to then create a user account for malicious purposes. But they was only able to do that by getting access to an account that already has escalated privileges, because they wouldn't be able to do that if it was an account that was like a general user or a local user, right? So going back to security iron, Now it's saying to select one of the packets that show the source IP address and the destination IP address. So here we're going to dig a deeper look at exactly what these packets look like a little bit deeper to try to actually get a little bit more intel and information. So here I'm going to right click it and I'm going to go down to follow and TCP stream. Now here, as you can see, I have some pertinent information. So this is telling me what was the threat actor actually looking to find, what data he was looking to actually find. And here I can see he has a type of data that I won't reveal as of yet because that's one of the questions, but he has a type of data that is definitely that should be left confidential, because if you disseminate this type of information, it can lead to severe consequences. So here is asking me, so I'm gonna put parking lot that real quick. So now it's asking me, okay, so in the security onion environment, what's the IP address for this operating system? So here you would just right click and you will go to your terminal, and then you would hit IF as in Frank config, because this is a Linux platform. So here is looking in particular for the ENS32. And I'm gonna just navigate my way up inside of this terminal. Boom. So here underneath for the ENS32, you can see that the IP address is 10.10.1.55. So again, this is just basically saying that this was also on that host. This as in the security onion virtual machine. Now, I'm gonna open up the screen once again. All right, so it's saying what type of encryption is being used on the compromised data. Now, being that encryption, it would be in a format that would not be able to read, would not be legible, at least not to the naked eye. We could tell that there isn't any encryption. That actually this is not in ciphertext. This is in plain text. So you can see that. So it's not RSA, it's not the secure FTP, it's not AES, it's not these two. This is a protocol for the secure file transfer protocol. This here is under the symmetric encryption. This is an algorithm for symmetric encryption. And this is for string ciphers, RSA, and AES is actually for block ciphers, but that's also an algorithm used for symmetric encryption. But however, in our exercise, it will be none, because again, this is in plain text, not ciphertext. So down here, which of the following based on the exploit is the malware type? Select the correct answer. So what it's saying is what malicious software was used to actually gain recognizance on our system. So it wouldn't be rootkit, because if we looked in our processes, we really didn't see a collection of programs used to create a backdoor. It wasn't a worm. We don't have a self-propagating malware, and it wasn't a Trojan, because we didn't have to do a malware analysis on a benign application or software and we didn't have to do that process to see if there was anything malicious attached or associated with a benign software. So by process of elimination, it was spyware such as keylogger, which recorded the strokes or recorded any type of action, so to speak, that had the credentials used. And that's how the threat actor had recognizance and gain information on his username and password. All right, so now here, review your notes to determine the data classification of the data sent from that. So that's just want to know what type of data was actually sent. So there we will go to.
Good work so far, man.
And then so here, where were we? So okay, let's go to packet 28. Cool. There, we're gonna go to data here. Transmission file. There. So what is on the data here? So this is just giving you a up close and personal look at the type of data. I see the flags. I see a push flags. I see a knowledge there. When it's a push flag, usually that's an indicator of some type of exfiltration. Hey, look there. So yep. So this is just giving you an up close and personal look of the actual data being used. But more importantly, it's now asking to document the location of the malicious process below. All right, so here we can go back to our actual server. All right, so now it's a couple ways that you can do this. So they want me to like figure out the path of the process that we identified. So we know the process is on the host. Now we got to figure out where it is. Now there's two ways you can do this. The way I'm going to use is the sys internal suite. In particular, I'm going to go down here. Where is the so underneath it here, the pro, it's like short for process.
Explorer, yep.
Process Explorer 64. So there, I'm going to, if I can go back to it and open it up properly. All right, cool. So now I'm going to open this. I hit agree. Cool. So now I'm performing just parsing through this. And I'm looking for that process that I seen because I know it was there. I seen it earlier. And voila, I see the process here. So now I identify it. Now, to identify, you can hover over it. You don't have to click on it. Now it's asking for the path, but it doesn't want you to actually insert the actual process itself. It just want to know the path and its location. So now you can see it's in its local drive, and then now it times out.
It timed out on you. It's all good, man. It is all good. That was a good job though. You did identify the malicious process that kicked off that connection, right? What was it called? Win tools. I believe that was the process that kicked the connection to that external IP address, the 75 dot whatever. What was the most challenging thing for you in that lab?
I think the first time I did it, I believe the most challenging thing may have been the navigating Wireshark between the Wireshark on the Security Onion platform and then going to the actual server, trying to navigate those back and forth, and trying to like compare so that the story makes sense. So yeah, you see the exfiltration, but comparing that to real time, seeing exactly what application was used on the actual infected host, I had to make a storybook and then matching that up, kind of matching up the process in Wireshark with what actually happened on your system. It took some time, but once I connected the dots, everything was kind of parallel with one another.
That's amazing, man. And same thing that I said about Cedric. I don't know if you remember the first day that you were in class, or this was I can't even remember what year it was.
21.
But I remember 2021. Yeah. This was August class, right?
Say it again.
You were in the August one with Telvin. Was Telvin in your class?
Nah. He was, but that was April.
April. Yeah. Man, you've definitely come a long way, man. Like you sound really, really, really good. You're very articulate. You were taking your time. You understood what was happening. And like you said, you were able to put the story together, which and the story includes the why. That's the most important part. You were able to put that together and explain that to us. Explain that to the world. Like why this was happening and why you were doing what you were doing. And I think the most important part that I could hear was that you did this multiple times. You didn't just do this, you practiced those skills. You kept back and working on your Wireshark skills, right? He was able to identify the type of flags that were in the packets, right? He mentioned the push packet. Usually when you see a push packet turned on, a push flag turned on in a packet, that's letting you know that data is being sent somewhere, right? And if it's being sent to uh, uh, an unknown external IP that you're not familiar with, and you were just victim of a data breach, well, there was probably the data exfiltration with that push packet, right? So good job, man. Good job. And it sounds like you understand the other packets. It sounds like you got more familiar with Wireshark and just with Wireshark, but doing manual investigation using manual tools, NetStack, even when you were running task lists to look at the different processes. Because what happens if you don't have access to sysinternal?
Right.
I love sysinternal. It makes everything look pretty, right? I don't know if you've used auto run in sysinternal yet, but that's a pretty cool program to use to help manage the integrity on your data, but what on your system. But what happens if you don't have sysinternal? Well, you got to result or default to the default tools, right? The basic tools that you have, the command line. So good job, man. Really, really good job. I'm already, bro. Like that's impressive, man. If you haven't congratulated yourself, please take some time to do that. Mean it, both of you, Zoe and Cedric. Now I'm not gonna keep everybody up too late. I did want to answer this question. King 318 had a question. How much networking? I did answer it in the chat, but it was a quick question because I wanted to pay attention to what Cedric was doing. Now, question was, how much networking should I know to become a SOC analyst? I'll answer that part first. I think to become a SOC analyst, at least a good SOC analyst, right? You definitely want to have a solid understanding of networking, right? You don't have to be an expert in networking to be a SOC analyst. Let me make that clear. When I say a solid understanding, I do not mean becoming an expert in networking. If you want to become an expert in networking, I'll go for it, right? I'm not against it, but you don't have to become an expert in networking to become a good SOC analyst, right? To be a good SOC analyst, you want to have a solid understanding of networking, meaning you want to understand the different parts of networking, the different components, the different devices, right? The OSI model, what the heck is that? How does it actually work in the real world? How does your data get from point A to point B in the real world? And really, there's another model. I always pronounce it wrong, but you start with the OSI model, and then you want to navigate over to I'll Google it real quick. It's like the TCP/IP model, something like that. But understanding those models and really being able to articulate how your data goes from point A to point B. How does data go across the network? How do you secure data in transit? How do other networks interact with each other? How do resources interact with your network? How does users and other objects on your network interact with resources on other networks, right? How do you create federated networks? That's what I believe are, and it's not all of it. There's more. That's what I believe are solid understanding of networking. And anything more than that, it's just gonna give you more leverage as a SOC analyst, right? Anything more than that, I mean, you can get into the different routing protocols if you want to, but solid understanding in our Security Fundamentals Academy. You can ask Will, he's here. You can ask Zoe, he's here. You can ask Cedric, he's here. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go look at the other YouTube testimonials. In our Security Fundamentals Academy, we do cover and make sure that you have a solid foundation of networking, right? You cannot really implement best security practices if you don't have a solid foundation of networking. All right, that's very, very important. So good question, King. Yeah, anytime. Anytime. All right. Any other questions, y'all? Cedric, Zoe, Will?
I just want to make a quick comment. As far as just like understanding the personal or the manual commands, those in the real world now, they're golden. And I noticed Toby is like fresh out the box, build, build, build. Like, you know, that's pretty much how you teach all your classes. You real big on the command prompt. But in the real world, a lot of people are not. A lot of people are not. They're using like tools, either OSINT tools, or they're using like some type of application to get the job done. They're not doing the back end things to actually deploy these processes. So that's an advantage. If you go through O-line and you learn that side of it, you're at an advantage because most people don't understand. I call it the old school way, like straight skeleton out of the box, and you build the body from scratch. You know, most people start with the body already made, but when you can build the body, then now you can open up other lanes like engineering and so what have you. So I just wanted to make that comment.
That's a really good point. He's absolutely right. You know, most, I'll say many are using applications, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Applications to make our lives easier. I use applications as well, right? And just like you said, many don't understand how to use your old school tools, right? Because they don't have to use it. Many people don't have to use that. We gotta give them a little bit of grace, right? They don't have to use this. Many people are just analysts. Then you have the others who are engineers who have to use these tools, right? I don't know an engineer, a good engineer that cannot navigate on the back end of a Linux operating system. I don't know a good engineer that doesn't understand networking components, right? So you're absolutely right. Many people don't use them, and I think it's because they don't have to, and some people are just not interested in it. Cool. But then it gives you, Cedric, Will, Zoe, and the rest of the O-line students an advantage because you know how to use them, you know why you're using them, and you can show people what you're doing. All right. All right. Anything else, y'all?
You say you be here. You be on Saturdays.
Study hall Saturday, 8:15.
8:15.
8:15, yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's in the morning, a.m. Let me know if you got anything that you want to bring up for study hall. Just send it to me on Discord so I can try to be prepared. If you don't have anything right now, that's fine. But study hall 8:15.
Okay. Yeah, Cedric, that was a good presentation you did too, man. That was real good too. I want to give you a heads up for that, man. That was good, man.
I appreciate it, man. I wish that. Usually, I commend Toby because when you're trying to talk and do it, I didn't realize it's that much time was being consumed.
Because you know what you're doing now, and you enjoy it. You know exactly what you're talking about, and you enjoy it. That's why you can probably talk about it all day.
And we make a lot of mistakes when we got to share our screen. Even I do. We make a lot of mistakes. I think it happens to everybody. Once you start sharing your screen, you make a lot more mistakes than you would normally make when you're not sharing your screen because we're a little bit more cognizant of what we're doing, you know. But that's okay.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, that was, man, Cedric, that was good though, man. Like I know about Wireshark, but to see it used in a real situation for an investigation, hey, that was real good. I'm actually put that on my personal laptop and work with that. See what's in my network, man.
The 701 labs, they did that thing. In my opinion, I like 601, especially the IDS one. I like that one. But 701, I think they really made it real world. Like you're simulating the real world. Like it's, I think they took it to another level, in my humble opinion.
I think they did too. There is like one or two labs in the 601 I wish they would have created use case scenarios for in this one, like creating the certs and binding them, and then the IDS lab. Like that was one of my favorite labs, that IDS one, man. But it is exactly a lot of real worlds, more real world, up to date. I'll say up to date scenarios.
Yeah. I gotta get that lab. Get them labs.
Yeah, man. Just reach out to us on Discord. We'll help you get squared away.
Yep.
Okay.
And Cedric, just let us know which Splunk course you want to start with. Sound like you want to do both of them. Just hit me up on Discord. We'll square things away.
For sure. Okay.
All right, everybody. Hey, Zoe, Cedric, Will, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Your skills, your expertise, and helping out other people. Cedric, you should definitely hit me up about doing the advisor role for some of our students and helping troubleshoot their hurdles that their technical hurdles that they're trying to get over. I think you'll be a great person for that role.
Cool.
Other than that, y'all, Cyber Thursdays, all the YouTube folks, yo, I gotta say thank you so much, man. Y'all have been spreading the word. We're not even on here every day. We're not on here 2-3 times a week. We're on here once a week, trying to squeeze in a good amount of time that we can with you all, trying to learn all together. And man, the subscribers have been growing, right? They've been growing pretty quickly, at least in my perspective. And all I can say is thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for making this community get to where it is today. I pray that it continues to grow, and we keep helping more people out there. Right? You all keep leaving your questions in the comment sections. We'll do a good job at responding back in a timely manner. Right? And if we don't, feel free to double comment, double text us, and we'll try to get back to you even quicker. Other than that, y'all have fun, stay safe, hold on to your loved ones, get them fat kisses. It has to be fat kisses. Make sure they know that you love them. That is more important than anything we got going on, is making sure our loved ones know that we love them. Other than that, O-line community, hit me up if you have any questions. I'll see y'all on Study Hall this Saturday, 8:15. Cyber Thursdays. Good night. Peace.